Hi guys, Dr. Sammy Herbster here with Postural Solution. We're continuing with our soft tissue and mobility series of the feet, and today we're going to be looking at the anatomical model of the left foot as it relates to the foot mobility routine that I do on a daily basis and that I have posted in a time-lapse video. So let's take a look at the structures that we're actually going to be affecting during this roll-out routine that I do with the lacrosse ball and another larger soft ball that can really get into all these different bones and these different tissues in order to elicit a little bit of movement and then hopefully to improve the function. So as we're taking a look here, I just want you guys to take a look at the structure before I start adding any muscles, but here's what we're working with. This is the bottom of our left foot. Now to start off with, I always suggest that we do some type of movement to assess how we're feeling before we treat ourselves with a lacrosse ball or any kind of stretching or mobility techniques, and then we also test afterwards to see how it is that we've improved. So I've suggested that we do 10 to 15 calf raises before we dive into this foot here. But once you got your calf raises done, I want you to grab the lacrosse ball. We are going to place the lacrosse ball first in the arch of your foot. And so if you have that lacrosse ball now, I'm going to have you place it right here. What we're going to do is we're going to end up going back and forth on this arch in this direction right here. So about 5 to 10 times I want you to go back and forth. What we're going to be doing here is going across these muscles, but we're also going to be starting to stimulate all those bones there underneath. As we saw before, that's where all of the intersection of those joints are. So we want to be able to get those mobile and get those moving. So we're going to start in that direction. And then once you go about 5 to 10 times that way, then we're going to go with the length of the muscle along that arch there. So you're going to be going back and forth like this. Now, if you followed along with the series, you'll also know that that is the location of our plantar fascia. So as you're coming up and down in the center of this arch area here, we're actually going with the fibers of that plantar fascia. Now, if you've had problems with plantar fascia in the past, you'll know that that becomes pretty painful. So be careful. Once again, adjust your pressure as you can tolerate. So once you get past the arch, then we're going to move on to the heel, and I started on the heel right in this area here. If we start on that bony part, that is very, very tender, and actually that's only one small portion of our heel. So I say we go right in here and we kind of work on these musculotendinous junctions here, because surprisingly enough, this heel bone is relatively large and it lies underneath those muscles. So take a look here as I pull some of those muscles off. You'll see that that bone is actually pretty big, and all underneath those muscles we're able to still come in contact with the bone. So you'll roll back and forth about 5 to 10 times, putting as much pressure as you can on that heel area. And then once you get done with the heel area, then we're going to move on to the ball of your foot, or to the forefoot, and this is where a lot of the movement happens. So I'm going to have you roll side to side across this, and you should be able to get a lot of movement, maybe some popping and cracking, but it's kind of just right underneath your toes. So rolling around with as much pressure as you can, about 5 to 10 from side to side. And then once we get through with all of the rolling on the foot, then I'm going to suggest that you take the lacrosse ball and we're going to put it right back in that arch area, that mid-foot area, and we're going to apply as much pressure as you can on that area. In my time-lapse video, I use a little bit larger ball that is softer in nature so that I can apply more pressure. But if we look underneath all of these muscles, that is the exact location where all of those joints and all of those small bones come together right there, where we're placing all of our pressure. So we can get a little bit more movement in between those bones with the more pressure that we apply of our own body weight. So I say if we can stand with very small movements in that area, we'll be able to get a few little bit more movements. And then very lastly, after that, I'm going to have you go back to doing a calf raise just to see how you feel and see how it's different. Now, there's a few other exercises that I've included in my time-lapse video, including toe yoga and a few other big toe exercises, but you'll have to go check that out to see what those are. Those are the fun part, the challenging part. If I could sign my name with my toes, I would have done that on video too, but I'm still practicing. So I want you guys to grab a lacrosse ball. I want you to give this a try. I want you to check out the next video, figure out what toe yoga is all about. Once again, I'm Dr. Sammy Herbster with Postural Solutions. Your tissues will thank you.